We're here to have some fun, to listen to what you've got to say. I would just say to you, enjoy it too. Thank you very much.
In recent years, this has become a hot topic of discussion within social and sporting circles. And we must ask ourselves, with rising unemployment and the threat of an economic recession, is it right, morally, that 20-something playboys, usually with poor academic backgrounds, are paid over 200 times the average worker?
Whether there's a too large a pay divide within our society, most notably with the issue of professional sportsmen and women, and in that regard I think the most controversial would be that of footballers. To give a bit of perspective on that, Wayne Rooney, Manchester United striker, earns £8 million a year. Now that's 67 times the annual wage of our Prime Minister, and over 200 times the annual wage of the average public sector worker. One solution to this problem would be to impose a cap on footballers' wages, which has been very successfully applied in the United States with the National Basketball Association.
On the topic of the prejudice that people with ginger hair face, and it is to discuss whether it is the last acceptable form of prejudice.
How would you feel if you walked into Tesco tonight and saw on the shelf a Christmas card with a picture of a ginger-haired child sat on Santa's knee with the words, "Santa loves all kids, even ginger ones"? Now, I bet most of you would find it pretty funny, and the card was intended to be humorous. However, imagine how different your reaction would be had the card insulted a child's racial background, skin colour, disability or sexuality. It's not quite so funny now, is it? One of the most common things people shout at me on the street is ginger, which always puzzles me. Why would you shout an aspect of someone's appearance at them as if they don't already know? Who walks down the street informing people of what they look like by screaming, "blonde, tall, bald," at passers-by? You'd look ridiculous, right? Yet people think it's okay to do the same to me. There are fears that gingers may be extinct by 2060 because only 2% of the world's population is ginger, and that number is shrinking. There are laws in this country that prevent you from discriminating against others in society based on race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, religious belief and age. And the majority of people would never dream of doing so. So why is it that so many seemingly decent people think gingerism is
Today, I understand many of us may believe that slavery ended in the 1800s and that is a thing of the past. However, I'm here to tell you that it didn't end in the 1800s. It's a social malady which is still with us today. In your country, your farmer grants you certain freedoms, not because he cares about your liberties, but he wants to increase his profits. Have you seen the debt that the UK is in today? Are you beginning to see the nature of the cage you were born into? I hope you're beginning to see now that the system we live by today is just a slightly modified form of slavery, changed to make it a little more palatable and give people the illusion of freedom. Today, are we free, or are we slaves to the system? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Az, for that interesting and thought-provoking speech.
I'd just like to welcome and thank you everyone for being here today. We've worked long and hard to research our speech in order to make sure that it's thought-provoking, but also makes a very concise argument. And so it's a pleasure that you've all come here today. I'd just like to introduce my team, which consists of me, Chris Philsell, who will be the chairman of today's event, Pete Barrett, who will be the main speaker and will also be answering a relevant question on the topic, and Evan Woodall, who will be proposing the vote of thanks. Now, on to our topic. Our topic is the important issue of, is the Santa Claus ruining Christmas? So, without further ado, can you please give my main speaker of the evening a massive round of applause, Mr. Pete Barrett.
You tell your kids that Hogwarts was a real place, would you? I mean, imagine the devastation when their 11th birthday comes around and they receive no letter. It would break their fragile little hearts. So to summarise, Christmas in the modern day has become something it shouldn't be. Ideas of Father Christmas, I believe, are at the centre of that, but he doesn't need to be erased from history. Instead, what we need to do is reinstate the old stories of St. Nick so that children can know what it truly means
Now,
to
we
have
are here to
Christmas.
discuss with you the importance of social media.
Today, when we look at the news, people want to know where it happened, why it happened, how it happened. For everybody needs to be involved. And you have so many different sources on just one story, so you can get everybody's point of view.
I'd like to start off tonight by introducing my team. My name is Kaylin, this is Jenny, and our main speaker tonight is Tom Almond.
Facebook is an ever-growing global phenomenon. The entire site is built upon the idea of social interaction, which really begs the question, is it actually making us any more social? Numerous reports by social scientists and the like have found that actually the answer to this question may be no. One of the main adverse effects of Facebook is that it's actually leading to an increase in the prevalence of the inability to build satisfying relationships. But beyond the not-so-simple world of friendships, Facebook negatively affects our ability to interact in a real social world environment. Relationships and physical communication rely heavily on the senses, including a surprising amount on touch. So until we work out how to touch online, we're not really communicating as effectively as we could be. And no, pokes don't count.
Admittedly, I am one of the 800 million Facebook fanatics worldwide, as I'm sure many of the audience are here today. We are the Facebook generation, and I think that's why this topic is of so much relevance to us all.